Like if you ask this question, is love enough to Jesus? What do you think he will say?
Saying that you can fall out of love.
No.
And then
You can't
so
fall
in
out
that
of
scenario
love.
there's no falling out of love.
I don't believe falling out of love exists.
Oh, man.
Anything, but I was a little bit confused with the example that you gave
Which
of
one?
the car.
The driving one.
The driving one. Because I don't think we understood each other. I don't think I understood you.
Okay. So the driving one was basically like, because what I was saying was that the act of love, my favorite part of love is the act itself, kind of thing. But learning about like the specifics and delving deep into how to drive, how to make sure that you get a U-turn, make sure that the steering wheel is like 45 degrees, yada yada, all that kind of stuff.
Parking.
Yeah, it's not that I don't know how to do it. It's the fact that, I don't really, that's not what makes me enjoy driving. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's kind of the same thing with love. It's like, the easiest part is actually just loving the person, kind of thing. Like understanding it to a point where it's like, okay, you need to have these qualities. You need to make sure that these are the love languages that your partner has, and that and you have to make sure that your love languages are being met as well. It's like, it's a lot, in a sense of, there's just so much information being thrown out, when literally the focus should be like, yo, you just need to love that person. Like, that's where the good feelings come from. When there's not a lot of effort put in, type of thing, that's where it's like, it feels a bit better, kind of thing. I don't mean effort like you don't put any effort, like you're just watching the person. No, I mean effort as in, it's easy for you to go buy that gift because it'll make them feel good. You know what I mean? Console them when they're feeling down. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need a, it's not rocket science to understand that I need to be with that person when they feel down. You know what I mean? And that's the act of love, That's how I see it, kind of thing. Well, that's my favorite part of love. It's just how easy it is for people just to love.
And I think that's leads to my next question, because you keep bringing this point of like how easy it is to just love. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still not understanding to which part, because if you look at the previous episode, you broke down the definition from the Bible, what love is. It's multiple of things. There's different aspects. But what I've seen is you have to be sacrificial. You have to put the needs of others before yours. You know what I'm saying? Not the needs where people are just walking all over you. You're not going to be a doormat. You know what I'm saying? But you're doing it for a greater good, for the betterment of that person, and for the ultimate greater good for that person.
Yeah.
So you're sacrificing. You're choosing to be less of yourself. But ultimately, I think that's tough, bro. Because initially, the human nature, you want your own.
In that moment, it will be easy for you, though. Kind of
Which
thing.
moment?
In that moment where you have to sacrifice that person. When you make that decision to sacrifice for that person, it'll be easy.
Yeah. If you love them, it will be easy.
Exactly. That's
okay.
kind of what I mean by that. Of course, that's why I say that
it's only tough if you don't love
is
them.
hard in jail.
Yeah.
Love is just hard, kind of thing. Like, there's a lot in love that is very difficult, but the act of doing it is what is the easy part. You know what I mean?
Or deciding to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, yeah, deciding to do it is the easy part. Like, once you've kind of made peace with yourself that, okay, I am doing this because I really love this person, it'll be easy for you to act on it. You know what I mean? That's why I say the act of love. The act of love is easy compared to, just love. That's also kind of a thing, because I was talking to Tanta about it today, kind of thing, where he said that love encompasses a lot of things, of course. Love encompasses a lot of things, and we must be very, very careful not to get lost in trying to understand all of it at once, kind of
It's
thing.
a process
It's a
type.
process, yeah. So I do my best to make sure I love the right way, kind of thing. I make sure that I love the right way, and I don't let love be a distraction from what I need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can fish out how many more different love languages this person needs, but like at the end of the day, I just want to, because I want them to feel loved, I'll make the effort to do so. That's why the question of is love enough is very confusing to me, honestly speaking, because like I guess people are looking for that unconditional love, or people have not gotten the unconditional love from someone to the point where they've had to really ask that question, where they've mixed up. Because what does love mean in that question? Is love enough? Because it seems like it's just a...
It's a little bit like...
Yeah, it's a fairy tale.
No, like it's. I feel like it's not completed. Is it enough in what? Love is enough in what aspect? You know what I'm saying?
Enough to sustain a relationship.
Okay.
That's what they're
Now
trying
it's-
to mean. Like,
Okay.
enough to sustain a relationship. But I'm asking, like, what, when does love not be enough? You know what I mean? Like, when is it not enough? Kind of thing.
My friend, I don't think there's a scenario where love is not enough.
But that's the thing. Why would a question like that come up if that was the case, though? Because
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Because there is some cases where we're like, nah, love is not enough. You gotta do more.
that's
You gotta-
crazy. Like, you gotta do more than love. But
not
no.
do more, but like you gotta add.
I think that's why we should have really delved deep into the aspects of a relationship that is important, other than love, apparently. Because like, there was a video that I wanted to show. Yeah, I'm connected, so let me check. Let me check. Yo, I haven't been on TikTok for a minute.
Love isn't enough. I wish. Oh boy, I wish all we had to do was just love somebody. But if that were the case, my mother would have changed my father. She did everything. She literally would have morphed herself into a pretzel. And he still said, "You're not baked enough for me." Because when someone just doesn't have that, nothing I do will change that,
Okay.
except walking away, because that's for me.
From there,
That's a lot of venting, my brother.
yeah. Have you ever had a case where you liked a person? Let's not use the word love, but you really liked this person, but there was just something that didn't want you to let that go any further, you know what I mean?
There was something about them that
Yeah.
wouldn't let me. Oh yeah, I have experienced that. I have experienced that.
Because like from what I'm hearing from the video, it seemed like, okay, obviously it's a much more difficult situation because
Because
they
they were
married.
already married, yeah.
They already married.
That's what
But
I'm
like,
scared of, bro.
yeah,
Get into something and then you're like, you
don't
messed
like
up.
me.
Wait, you more afraid of them not liking you, or you finding out later on not liking that?
I don't even, because like if they don't like me, but we married, I'm just gonna be like, so then like what are we doing for these past couple of years?
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know? Like what were we doing for these past couple of years? What?
But then what about now if you find something and you're like, oh, I actually don't like this girl. Something she did now, or something you saw before you thought she would change, but then you really...
Love is sacrifice, you know? Love is full of compromises. Like when you're living with when you're living with someone, there are things that you kind of need to be okay with just to keep the peace. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the wife did that the father was like, nah, I can't do this anymore.
telling you, bro.
But that's the thing, like, honestly, I don't want to say this, but it kind of sounds like the love wasn't, like that love wasn't,
Enough.
not enough, but
It wasn't real.
it wasn't real kind of thing. Yeah. Because like, at what point after such a long time kind of thing, like for all you've dealt with, you've realized, I can't do this anymore kind of thing.
But those things happen, bro. I understand. Like,
Do you think you can fall out of love?
Yeah, I think you can fall out of love.
yeah,
I
just the way
haven't.
you fell in.
I haven't.
Okay.
It depends. Like, because then I wouldn't call that love.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you love them in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, you can love somebody and not be with them.
Yeah, but that's a different thing, though, kind of thing.
Falling out of love.
Falling out of love is that I don't love this person anymore, and that doesn't make sense to me, because once you fall in love with someone, kind of thing, even if you don't need to see them anymore, like the name, once the name comes up, you'll be like, damn, I really love that.
Has there been a scenario in your life, okay, like your ex or somebody that you've dated, and then you guys are cool after you guys broken up?
Yeah.
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 So how does that work? Like, how is the relationship? Like, what are the boundaries? Like, how does that navigate?
Obviously, you have to set boundaries so that you don't hurt each other again. You know what I mean? Because after you guys break off the relationship, you need to set boundaries to make sure that you don't turn this into something you don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're falling out of love. Like, hey, I'm not gonna say this.
Yeah,
I was about to say something.
No, but you
crazy.
said that you can fall out of love.
No.
And then
You can't
So
fall
in
out
that
of
scenario,
love.
there's no falling out of love.
I don't believe falling out of love exists, because like I feel like if you spend so much time with someone,
The love will always be there.
I don't think falling out of love exists, because that idea of love that you think that you had for that person might have just been either compassion or what's this other word we like to use?
Infatuation?
Infatuation, yeah, kind of thing. Because it's not real love, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Compassion compassion is finite. It's always to a point, kind of thing. So I will have as much compassion for you, but once you break that point, you know,
Yeah.
it's downhill. I don't have that same compassion for you. Whereas love is like okay, let's compare it to how I love my brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
How I love my brother. I'll do anything for Albisha. And like he can literally do the craziest things. He's probably has done the craziest things to me, like something that hurt me as well. But it doesn't mean I'll fall out of love because of that, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've spent so much time with him, I've grown with him, like
It's
I've-
deeper, bro. It's very deep.
it's So when it's a different person, when it's someone that's not family or I don't know,
Like
like
a close friend.
you have to really look back and see, was that really love, type of thing, kind of thing. Was that really love, or was it a situation, kind of thing? Like maybe, I don't know the story, right? Maybe it was arranged marriage, kind of thing, and then they tried their best, but obviously, you know, you can't force things. That's one thing about love too. You can't really
just
force it.
your chain is hitting the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good. I just heard like it's going.
Okay. Like, how do I say? Okay, I'm not gonna say the arranged marriage thing, but even for a casual kind of thing, maybe you really did have a lot of compassion for that person, and they really delve deep into your feelings to a point where it's like, yeah, I really want to be with this person, or you know, you tried your best to take it as far as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But if at any point you realize that it doesn't work, kind of thing, if you fell out of love for that person, I wouldn't call it love. You know what I mean? I think it was just because it's just conditional love.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's what it's. That's what it's called.
But then what about people that get married for like 30 years and then they get a divorce? 50 years, get divorced. So is that the same as falling out of love?
The act of divorce is conditional love. The act of divorce is conditional
It's
love.
conditional
Because
love,
conditional in saying that you had to meet certain
certain
criteria for me to like get out of that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And honestly, I don't deal with conditional love. I'm not gonna lie. I don't deal with conditional love. Because that's conditional love is just compassion and infatuation dressed in another.
with an agreement, because it's set with
Conditions.
boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conditions, yeah.
But I feel like maybe the way I see love, I only see love as unconditional love kind of thing. Maybe
You think that's
where
healthy?
I'm-
Think that's healthy? You have unconditional love for everybody? Or it's just certain people?
When it comes to romantic love, when it comes to... I mean, okay, actually, that's actually a great question. Because it's kind of the journey that I'm going on right now. It's kind of learning how to love like Jesus loved. You know what I mean? Because Jesus loved unconditionally. He's
Yeah.
God kind of thing.
You can only do it with the help of the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you
It's something that I think, because the Bible tells us that we should be Christ-like, you know, as Christ-like. As we live on this earth, we should be closer to God and live in a Christ-like way, right? So if part of being Christ-like is having that unconditional love, why would I look for
a different type.
Yeah, you know. But obviously, it's not easy. It's not easy to love unconditionally. But I mean, it's better to start now. You know,
Yeah.
it's better to start now. So okay, then I understand the question of is love enough, in the sense that. But I would answer it in the sense that conditional love is not enough. Always strive for unconditional love, you know. Love with conditions is not enough.
So it needs to be unconditional for it to be enough. So you solve the case. I mean,
I don't think a lot of people agree with it, because from the videos that I've seen, they really focus on the other aspects of a relationship that you need to work on to keep that relationship
Such as?
intact. I'm not gonna go into like the surface level things like money or like, honestly, when I think of the aspects of a relationship, the one that comes to mind the most is how you deal with each other in conflict. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like when you're fighting with your partner, are y'all able to get out of there not hating each other? You know what I mean? At the end?
Yeah, conflict
Are you able
is
to
really
fight?
the real test.
Yeah. Are you able to fight with that person and not changing the relationship into something,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't make you love them anymore, or it puts conditions to the relationship kind of thing.
So were you saying that, from my understanding, once you start putting conditions, my friend, that's when you're going downhill?
Nah, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I think it's very important. Okay, boundaries as well is an aspect of.
So what's the difference? Can you just give me, like, what is the difference between the
Conditional love
conditions and the
and boundaries?
boundaries? Yes.
Conditional love is love to a point, you know. It's to a point where, as in, if you're not able to if you're not able to do this, no more love. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's like a. Okay, I would say it's like a race kind of thing. Like, unconditional love is a race in infinity. You know, you just keep running. No matter what happens, no matter what obstacle gets you, you still keep running. You know what I mean? It's something that doesn't end. Whereas conditional love is somewhere a 100-meter race.
Yeah.
You can see there's a point that
Yeah.
it's gonna end. You know what I mean? That's the difference. That's where I see kind
But
of.
would you say because if you want to describe the love of till okay, it's love till death, bro. So death is the condition. That's the finish line.
Wait.
So that is infinity. No. I understand what you say. I'm just playing around.
No. I like that. No, let's delve deep into it. I like that.
Because the end is till
Death do us part.
yeah.
Till death do us part. That is a condition that it's
That's a good condition. That one.
it's a great
It
condition.
really reveals where you at.
Yeah. I would also call it unconditional. I would say it's an aspect of
Yeah,
unconditional
because
love.
we're all gonna die anyway.
Exactly. And
So-
like once you're dead, you can't really just love
Yeah.
someone else like that. I guess. Well, at least for the dead person.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great, because I thought of a great question in a sense of like, what about people that lose their partners kind of thing, like lose the person that they love.
They can
unconditionally.
remarry.
Of course, I think that's okay. Honestly speaking,
So I think death is the
death is the same thing as running a race.
unconditional. Yeah.
Is-
You ran the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spent a whole life
The
together.
whole life. Yeah.
So, what more can I give you? If death is the condition, I'm okay with that. You know?
Yeah, that's a good condition.
Exactly.
Because even in the Bible it says that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, to death do us part. Yes.
And like when it comes to boundaries are there to make sure the love works, kind of thing.
Okay.
To
Protect the love.
Yeah, like there's something on the tip of my mind that is like closing in.
Tip of your
Bec-
mind.
It's like I can't say the tip of my tongue because I can't think of the words. Like it's on the tip of my mind. Conditional love is like a contract. You know what I mean? Conditional love is like a contract. Or love in general is like a contract. Where conditional love is, if you do this, it's done. Unconditional love is, this is a lifetime contract. So,
Yeah.
until you did, that's
Yeah,
it.
in the Bible they call it a covenant.
Yes. Lovely word.
Yeah, covenant.
Covenant. Now, boundaries are just like terms in that contract. You know what I mean?
The rules.
Yeah. It's just so you don't step out of that
Yeah.
love.
To keep you in check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I don't think it's boundaries are necessarily conditions.
Just the way the commandments, the law. Sorry, not the command. The law is to reveal your sin. So
Exactly.
it's the same way when you have the boundaries in a relationship, in a marriage or whatever. It's to reveal your weaknesses
Yes.
and to show where you can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I set the boundary that we need to at least talk to each other, like call each other at least once a week, you know what I mean? If we have a long distance relationship, we have to at least call each other at least
Yeah.
once a week. That's to make sure that there's communication.
That we see each other.
And
There's that intimacy.
that boundary itself is an act of love that sustains the relationship, you see?
It's to keep you in check because sometimes you might want to give up and just do your own thing,
Yeah.
but then it's kind of like a vow or like a reminder type of.
Yeah, it's a
Like, yo, come on, man.
not even a reminder.
Call-
It's a guideline. It's a guideline.
There you go.
It's a guideline. It's just to make sure that you understand that this is real.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to make this work. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
but yeah, it's one of the aspects of building a relationship, setting boundaries. Of course, that is something that a lot of people have trouble with, honestly speaking. Because I feel like we have this fear of someone falling out of love with us, or we have this fear of breaking something that we really worked hard on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
once you get rid of that fear, you can love fully and unconditionally.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's
I
really
agree.
that fear, bro. To love somebody unconditionally is not easy, brother. You really need a lot of faith, and you really need an understanding of God.
Yeah.
Because if you understand how God loves you unconditionally, bro, you can do the same for others.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like, God calls us to be Christ-like.
Yeah.
So it's very important to understand what that means. What does it mean to be Christ-like? What does it mean?
But sometimes it's also tough in scenarios to walk like Christ, because there's some scenarios, but you have to hear from him to deal with scenarios the way he would do it.
Like, what do you mean?
You gotta know his character, because sometimes you would think like, no, I have to be like police in this situation, but sometimes you don't have to call out somebody. You just have to show them grace. You don't have to just say, my friend, you're doing this wrong, or do it like this. Sometimes you can see what they're doing good first, instead of criticizing.
Depends on the situation, but like, I feel like I get what you're saying. Ultimately, if you want to be like Christ, read the Bible.
Yep.
God is the Word.
That's how simple it is.
And like, the scenarios are there in the Bible for you to kind of reflect on,
Yeah.
to see where you need to go. If this is the situation, how would God? What would Jesus do? You know what I mean? I feel like that's the best thing to say. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, and it's very important. Like if you ask this question, is love enough to Jesus? What do you think he will say?
Yeah, of course you say yes. Love is enough. He's love. So it's enough.
So is that the love which you're supposed to be looking for then? Isn't that the love that we're supposed to be looking for?
Yeah. That's the only one. We were trying to go around.
It's not a going about. That's why I said that. That's why I kind of made sure that we understood the question, kind of thing, because I think where most people talk about that question, they're talking about the aspects of relationship that people need to work on to make it easier for them to love people. But to say that love isn't enough is kind of, it's kind of, it's a misunderstanding of love. You know what I mean?
Because if you think that it's not enough, you're probably comparing it with something material.
Maybe.
And love is not something you can hold, you know.
Maybe.
And usually that's the mistake people do. They try and compare it with physical stuff.
I mean, just like they said over here, they talked about boundaries or not being able to handle them in a fight.
Yeah.
Those are aspects of a relationship that you need to work on. But to say that isn't love, because I feel like putting boundaries is an act of love, isn't it?
Yeah. But then, is that physical?
Is that physical?
Is that material? Because I said that people try and compare. Like.
That's why I asked, what is love in that question?
I mean, we have the definition of love in the Bible.
Do you have something to say? There's a mic over here. What are you confused by? Okay, let me pose the question to you. Is love enough?
No. No.
Love is not enough? Why is it not enough?
If you're talking about love as a feeling, it's not. Because even in the same context that y'all were talking about when it comes to Jesus, it's not just the fact that you love Jesus that gets you into heaven. love comes with action. So if you're referring to love as the feeling, as the emotion, then no, it's not enough. And that's what people often associate that love is not enough with. Feeling. But those feelings need to come with actions. Your actions need to display those feelings. If what you're doing does not display the emotion that you're saying, then it's not enough. Because people will say, oh, I love Christ, I love this, but then they don't act like it. It's not enough to just say it. You need to show it.
So
and how you show it is in the way that the person that you are showing that love to can receive it. Because if you are showing love to somebody in a way that they cannot receive it, then in their eyes it's not enough, because what you're doing is not really receiving it. So if we're just talking about the feeling love, let me talk about love, just how you feel about someone, because mainly love is a choice that people make. And now that choice comes with actions. You make a choice, and you then pick the appropriate actions that support that choice that you made. But if the actions that you picked do not support the choice that you make, you cannot call that love.
you cannot call that love. I agree.
Facts.
I'm going on a loop around.
No, I mean, I think that what I was mostly focused on is, I feel like the act of love kind of thing should be enough to kind of...
Yes, but people have a different definition of what the act of love is. That's why we have love languages, and that's why not everybody's love language is the same. Your act of love may not be somebody else's act of love.
Yeah.
So when you're saying that the act of love is enough, to whose standard? To the standard of the person that's displaying the love, or the person that's receiving love? Because those two people need to both be satisfied in that love. So if your manner of displaying love does not satisfy the person in their manner of receiving love, then there's a disconnect there. So one person can say that, oh, I'm doing all this out of love, and you don't seem to care. It's like, no, what you're doing it's not what I need.
Would you call that conditional love?
No, it's not conditional love. It's just, it's...
Like, there's a mic there. That's it.
No, you don't need a mic. Like, do you want to sit though?
It's just circumstantial. It's not conditional. Sometimes. I just gotta go to bed.
You can. There's a pillow there. You can put your...
It's not conditional. It's just that everybody is different, right? If the way that you display your love to somebody, maybe let's say for instance, your way of displaying love is to give somebody something, right? That same person may have a trauma associated with gift giving that they don't necessarily like that. So you can go and say like, oh, I buy you all of these things, and you still question my love, because to them, the last person they gave them a gift, or even a parent or whatever, that was a sign of trouble, right? So you need to understand, because one thing that Christ does show us about love is that love is self-sacrificing.
Of course.
Right? So you need to sacrifice yourself for somebody else. So if you're in a emotionally balanced relationship, you won't feel as if you're giving too much, because what you're sacrificing, that person is sacrificing back. So if your manner of receiving love is different from that person,
Just grab the mic, please.
You can just grab the pillow, hold it there, hold it there for you.
if your way of showing love, right? If your way of showing love and your partner's way of showing love don't necessarily match up, you need to kind of adjust.
Yeah, compromise.
Because that's what God did when it came to how he came down to earth.
Yeah.
Right? He saw that his way of reaching his people wasn't working. So he had to kind of switch tactics and meet them where they're at and make himself human to come down and connect with these people. Right? You have, in a relationship, you have to be able to give and take. So if you know that this is how I show up, but this is how my partner receives it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice what I think is right, because the person I'm trying to connect with is not on that level. So I need to get to that level to be able to properly communicate my love to that person in a language they understand. Right? Because if you want to explain something to somebody, and you're explaining it in Chinese, and all they speak is English,
they're not gonna
understand you.
Okay.
Right? And they're gonna think, well, let's just use Russian for a second, because Russian, it sounds really harsh. They don't think all you're doing is yelling at me.
Yeah.
But you're telling them nice things.
Okay.
They don't understand that. So you need to kind of get to that person's level. To get into that language, because that's how we call it a love language, because it is a type of language, and you need to understand that person's love language in order to communicate that love to that person, and vice versa. So if you are still communicating in Russian, and that person is still communicating in English, and you're like, but I'm showing her this love, and isn't my love enough? No, because you're talking Russian.
Yeah.
She's talking English. So to her, it's not enough, because y'all are not understanding each other. It doesn't make sense. So if you're saying that, oh, why is my love not enough? Because your love is in Russian and my love is in English.
Okay, do you think that, that's a very interesting thing to talk about, because like, do you think that if at this point Russian is not working, English is not working, now we cut it off, do you think those people fall out of love? Kind of thing?
I would say, I don't say they fall out of love, because like I said, love is a choice, right? That person, you choose to love that person, because if you go based on feelings, then yeah, we can say they fell out of love because the feelings are no longer there. But it's not necessarily, we don't go based on feelings. We should not call love is not a feeling, it's a choice that you make, right? So if Russian and English are not at a point where they can have a middle ground, like they're not getting a middle ground, I feel like it's because either Russian or English is not willing to compromise, right? Because everything is a compromise. Everything is a compromise. Everything is something that you have to choose. Okay, I want you to understand me. I want to understand you. Let's have a compromise. But when you come and have that compromise, and then you realize that, okay, now we're both speaking a bit of Russian, a bit of English, and we realize that this really ain't it, I wouldn't necessarily say that they fell out of love. They're just choosing to love different.
They're refusing to compromise.
Right. So when you get to a point where you understand a bit of Russian and they understand a bit of English, but then you're realizing, I actually don't like what you were saying to me in Russian, and you know what? I think so. So I'm not going to say that they fell out of love. I'm just going to say that they realized that that situation was not compatible for them, and you choosing to take that and move on. So I don't like the fall out and fall in, because then it refers to love as a feeling more so, and it's just like,
it's not realistic.
No.
To be fair. Yeah, I totally understand you. It's like, I mean, most people chase for that feeling, you know what I mean?
And that's why there's a lot of hurt people out there. Because if you keep chasing that feeling, it's like a high. You keep chasing that high. You're not going to achieve that same high every single time. And in your process of chasing that high, you're leaving broken people in the midst of it. So you cannot go into something because you want to chase that high, because you want to chase that feeling. That's why I don't like when people refer to love as a feeling, because it's not a feeling. Because feelings fade. You'll wake up one day and you'll be like, this man pisses me off. I don't like how you sleep. I don't like how you snore. I don't like how you breathe.
But I'll call that conditional love.
It's not conditional. It's not conditional. I don't want to call it conditional because it's just like with your siblings. One day they'll piss you off and you'll be like, I don't like this person. But you choose.
I'll call that unconditional love.
It's not conditional.
Unconditional.
I don't think love is conditional. Like I said, again, it's a choice. Because there'll be days where you will not like the person, but you choose to love them, right? So I wouldn't say that, oh, it's conditional, unconditional.
No,
it's a choice.
I feel like that's unconditional love. For you to keep making that choice, even though they do things that piss you off, like even though the situation continues to change and you still make that choice, I'll call that unconditional love. Don't you think?
I just don't like
how
the
many times has
conditional and
God...
unconditional. And
Let's talk about the relationship with God and Israel. You know what I mean?
That's God's first kids, man. God was like,
how many times have they messed up? Have they gone way beyond kind of thing? And God still chose that choice. That's the unconditional love that he keeps talking about in the Bible. You know what I mean? I feel like you're right in saying that conditional love doesn't exist, because that's not what love is. Love is not conditional. That don't make no sense kind of thing. I feel like what people refer to as conditional love is compassion and
yes, because when
infatuation.
it's just the feelings.
Exactly.
When the feelings start to fade, it's like, oh, he never loved me. No, sweetie, it's just...
You just had that high.
Right.
Sorry, man.
It's just the high. People keep chasing the high, and then they expect that high to continue on. That's why we call it the honeymoon phase. Once the feelings start to die down and our reality starts to set in, you want to continue with that high. It doesn't work that way. That's why there's so many broken relationships, because people still think that love is a feeling.
Yeah. So do you think... Let's go back to what you said. Let me just remember again. So do you think that when people ask the question, is love enough, is that referring to love as a feeling or as a choice?
I think it's referring to love as a feeling.
Is it correct?
I think when people ask that question, they're referring to the feeling of love, not the action or the choice of love.
If the feeling of love is already flawed, kind of thing, do you think that that question, don't you think that there is a little bit of a misunderstanding of what love is, kind of thing, when that question is posed?
Definitely, because the people that are asking the question are asking based on feelings, and half the people that are that are listening to the question are listening to it in either feelings or as an action. That's why there's always the yes it is, no it's not, yes it is, no it's not, because there's that separation in that.
But do you think there's any value to asking that question, though? Because I feel like you kind of gave a lot of great points when that question was asked. As in, when people ask that question, they focus more on the aspects of a relationship that people need to really work on. Boundaries. Like, boundaries is a good example. You actually liking the person type of thing, you know? Like, things like that. I feel like there are aspects of a relationship that people should work on, and the act of working on it, I would call love. Wouldn't you?
The act of it is love. Because if, for instance, you grew up as an only child and you're used to being by yourself, and now you're in a relationship with a golden retriever person who wants to, you know?
The big family.
Right. So obviously you choosing to ignore the fact that you have extreme social anxiety just to make this person happy, or they're choosing to, you know, like pipe down with their excitement and kind of like meet you at your mellow, that act I would call love. Because if you love somebody, you want to do everything to make that person happy.
Of course.
Right? So the act of what you do with the feeling, not saying that feelings don't play a part in love. They very much do, right? It's what you do with those feelings that matters, right? So what you're doing with those feelings is what I would call love. The feeling is the infatuation, the admiration of the person, like, you're good looking, you're this, you're that, you make me feel this, you make me feel that. So because of that, I'm going to choose to do this act, or do this, or do that, to show you that, hey,
I love you.
I like you. Like, you know, you're a little fine or whatever, I like you. So like, so that act that you do is what I would call love. The feeling is just the infatuation, the attraction, the lust, the all that, because it does play a part.
Yeah.
Whether we like
right.
it or not, even that's why Paul's telling us if you can't hold yourself, go get married. But it all plays a part. But now it's what you do with those feelings that I would call love.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's the way you guys were going loop. It's just
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Rebecca, for joining in on this conversation. I hope you come back.
If you pay me, I will.
Payment. Isn't it doing for free kind of love, you know? That's an act of love, you know what I mean?
Nothing is for my hand, I'm so sorry.
But sure, I mean, I feel like it's very important to understand well, okay, there was something that I said in the last video saying that I feel like the act of love, or the choice, the decision to love someone is easy, but love itself is kind of a difficult concept for people to grasp. What would you say on that?
The decision to love someone is easy. See, that's again goes back to what I say. I feel like people think the decision to love someone is the butterflies it gives you. That part is easy. It's so easy to get butterflies because the way the human body is programmed, that is going to work. Once you reach puberty, your hormones are all over the point. Things give you butterflies. You know, it's how it works, right? That feeling is not a decision to love somebody. That feeling is your body telling you, hey, so you've reached an age where this and this and this happens, so we're going to just keep going back and forth like this, right? That's like a biological reaction. It's not a decision to love someone. The decision to love someone is when you decide in your mind that, okay, I care about this person a lot, and I want to see this person thrive. I want to see this person happy. And I want to be in this person's life to see them thrive, to see them happy. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they're always on their A. They're always good. That's the decision to love, right? And that's where all the actions come from. So making that decision, I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy. It's only easy if you don't understand what you're actually diving into, right? Because people think that just decide, I just want to love this person. They think that's a decision to love. No, that's not a decision to love. When you make a decision to love somebody, you have to look at that person with their flaws. You have to look at that person with what's ahead, what I can expect from this, right? That is what the decision to love somebody is. Not just to be like, oh, this feels nice. This feels, no, that's not a decision to love, because you are choosing to be infatuated by somebody. You are choosing to have this person make you have butterflies. That's not the decision to love somebody. The decision that one makes to love somebody is when they consider everything, consider what that would look like for themselves. That is when you make the decision, okay, I'm deciding to love somebody. Because if you just be like, oh, he's cute, you know, she's pretty, and they make me feel nice, so I'm just gonna love them. Like that's not a conscious decision. That's like a, I don't think that would be classified as a decision, like, oh, one made a decision to love the person. Because then we come back to like, oh, it just didn't work out. Because once you went through the relationship, you saw that there were problems, and then you were like, this person's too much, and just.
Yeah. So it's very dangerous to kind of treat it, to not understand what decision you're making, kind of thing. I get it.
Because when God chose to love Israel, He knew that they were going to like do all the things that they did. He knew that they were going to go against him. He knew that they were going to sin against him multiple times. He knew that. He knew that. He knew that from the moment he got them out of Israel, he knew that they were going to do all the things that they did. He knew that once he gave Moses those 10 commandments, he knew that as soon as you get down this mountain, you're going to see them doing what I told them not to do. He knew everything that humans were going to do the moment we were created. He knew every flaw that we were going to have. He knew every bad decision that we were going to have. But he chose to love us despite that.
Do you not think that that was easy for him to do, though? Because of the amount of love that he had for his people?
I don't think it was easy.
You don't?
I don't think it was easy. Because if you really read the Bible, you can tell how
It hurt him.
how much he was in pain.
Yeah.
And even when Christ died on the cross, even as he was, if you really read it, as he was getting to his crucifixion, you could tell how much pain he was in. I wouldn't call that easy. Because at some point, even Christ was like, God, if there's another way, let me know. Right? That's not easy. Right? Even though he knew that I'm going to come back in 3 days. He knew all of that. He knew, I was like, I'm going to come back in 3 days. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go back to my dad. Like, he knew all of that.
Yeah.
But it's to show you that it was not easy. But he did it anyway because of the love. Because of how much love he had. It's not an easy choice, but it's a worthy choice. It's a choice that's worth it. Right? It wasn't easy for him to make that choice.
Okay.
Right? It wasn't easy for him to make that choice. But it was a choice that was worth it for him. It was a choice that he knew that if I make this choice, at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it for me. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be worth it for me. I'm going to benefit from this. It's going to be worth it. It's something worth fighting for, and I'm okay with taking the risk. I'm okay with taking on the pain because I know that this is worth it. So I wouldn't say it's an easy decision.
I think the word worth it is much better than easy, because when I think of easy kind of thing, of course I don't disregard the amount of sacrifice, compromise that I take. Because, okay, a good example is like, should I go into personal stuff? Okay, if Abisha needs to go to a match kind of thing, and he's asking me to pay for his trip kind of thing, I really worked hard for that money. I've been saving up to like really focus on this and this, you know, or I need to focus on bills and all that kind of thing. But because I know that it'll benefit Abisha, and I have so much love to see him go further kind of thing, it's an easy decision for me to be like, you know what, I'll do this kind of thing.
But it's not, though. Do you know why I say it's not? Because of what you just said.
Yeah.
I had so much plans for this. It's not an easy decision. Because for a split second, you hesitated. You thought about, damn, I needed to do this, I needed to do that, I'm planning to do this.
Yeah.
But then you're like, you know what? Because I know that it's going to benefit you, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an easy
That's why I'm
choice.
saying that the word
word,
worthy
yeah,
is
it was
so much better
It's not
than
easy. It's not an easy choice.
Mhm.
Because if I went to sleep at like 4 a.m. in the morning, and I got to wake up to pull the kid on the bus, it's not an easy choice.
It's not.
But it's something I'm like, okay, he's got to go to school. Because I love him, he's got to go to school.
He's going to be a big genius.
Exactly. It's not an easy decision. But it's a decision that you make because you know that, one, I love this person, and two, I know that it's going to be beneficial for either me, them, or the both of us.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is what love is. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not easy.
Has there ever been a time when love was easy for you?
Love is not easy. Love is not easy. People want to make it seem like it's
constantly?
easy. Not constantly. Like I said, it's a choice. I think there are good moments in love, because if you look at married couples, some of them, there's good moments in them. Anybody that's been in a relationship, you would know that you have the nice little butterflies and blah, 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 blah. There's good moments in them. But those tough moments are tough. And if you really have to weigh them, those tough moments sometimes outweigh the good, right? But it's the choice that you make in those tough moments that make those good moments so much worth it, right? So I would not say that, I'm not saying that love is difficult all the time, but it is challenging, but the reward is really great. It's like when you go to the gym, right? It's hard. You're in pain 24/7, but then you know that once you start to see the muscles form, it's worth it. Once you start to see you look the way you imagined in your mind, it's worth it. But if someone asks you, is going to the gym hard? You're like, damn. You know, it's kind of tough, but
I mean, perspective. But yeah, I
right.
get you.
Even if you had to really like have an interview with your body when you go to the gym and you ask your body, is it tough? Your body would be like, yeah, yeah, it's hard, but you know, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it because yeah, obviously over time your body does like develop like an immunity to it, doesn't hurt as much, but it's still tough because one thing that happens when you go to the gym, it's also kind of the same with like when you're in love, your muscles tear. That's how you grow muscles. Your muscles tear, and then in that tear, the proteins come, and then they build. So like it's like you're basically tearing your muscles
all the
over and
time.
over and over and over
Healing,
again, right?
Healing, tearing.
Right, healing, tearing, and that's how you get the big muscles and the abs and the yada yada yada, right? And that's the same with love because you come with your baggage, they come with their baggage. So now there's healing, tearing, hearing, da 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 da, right? Until you get to this point where you're like, you know, properly floating in this boat.
Yeah.
But it took some time because y'all had to figure it out. And sometimes because people change, people grow, you will still find yourself in that moment of tearing and healing and yada 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 because nobody stays the same forever.
So would you say that an aspect of a relationship that is more important than the feeling of love is how people heal and tear within the relationship?
The tearing and the healing is very important because how you deal with the tearing determines how you heal. Because if you do a wrong, I'm not
No, I get you.
fitness person, but if you, one, don't stretch correctly, right, in the beginning, and you just go straight into lifting something heavy, you're going to pull something. You're going to tear something.
Not even that,
Right.
like if you go to the gym and then straight after you play soccer, then straight after you're doing
Right.
manual labor, you're just tearing. You keep tearing.
Right,
Where's the
but
healing
what I
coming
wanted to say is, when I say that it depends, how you tear, how you heal depends on how you tear, right? If you properly warmed up and now you're doing this thing and you're tearing, you're going to be in pain, but the healing process is not going to be as bad because you did what you needed to do beforehand, right? If in that tearing process, you decide, because there's going to be moments where you're going to quarrel with the person, right? If in those moments you decide to lead with anger, with feelings, with emotion, that's why I don't like love being an emotion, because when we lead with emotions, we end up doing things or saying things that later on we regret. And that's what affects the healing part of a relationship, right? So how you set your ground rules, how you set the foundation of your relationship is very important because it will determine whether or not that relationship will heal or just continue to tear. And that's where we go back to the love language. That's why we go back to those things because those things are very important in helping you tear and heal correctly. Because if you know how your person receives love, if you know how your person gives love, when it comes to those tearing moments, when I say tearing moments, I mean like the fights, the quarrels, the disagreements and all that, it will help with the healing part of the relationship.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand I'm really focused on the healing part, because like I feel like there's a lot of aspects where do you think people can heal but not tear enough? As in, they know how to mend a situation. They know how to make sure things are all right, but they don't put enough of themselves. This is a hard question to kind of push out. They don't know how to really show, or how to really tear, kind of thing. How to express their baggage, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So now I ask you, what are you healing from if you haven't torn anything?
In the sense,
Because it feels like you're putting a Band-Aid over a really big cut.
but it's something like sometimes they just don't understand, kind of thing. Like they don't understand how big the tear is actually, kind of thing. They just know that I know how to heal myself from this. I know how to heal myself from this pain, but I don't understand what kind of pain I have right now. You know, because maybe it's too big. Maybe it's something that I just can't deal with. So let me just focus on regulating myself rather than on what's actually tearing me apart.
Right. So that's what I call giving Tylenol to a cut leg.
Yeah.
Right? Because if somebody cut their leg and they're bleeding out and you give them Tylenol, right? It's going to help with the pain, but it's not going to help with the bleeding leg. Because the leg is still bleeding. The leg's still bleeding out. So you gave them the Tylenol to help with the pain, but they're still bleeding out.
Still bleeding out.
Right?
Yep.
So what I would say to that is that you cannot give Tylenol before you assess and stop the bleeding from the leg. Because yes, the pain is important. This is one thing that I'm learning in nursing school. Yes, you have to assess, because all those things are important. You need to assess the pain, but now you need to know what order you're going in. What order are you going? What's the most important thing you need to assess right now? And that's the bleeding leg. And if you don't know that your leg is bleeding, best believe your partner sees that your leg is bleeding. They may not know where the bleed is coming from. They may not know why you're bleeding, but they see it because they'll see it in your actions. Because no matter what you do, you can't hide that. Because they'll see it. They'll see it in your little mannerisms. They'll see you in how you get ticked off over little things. They'll see it. And it'll be a little like, okay, what is this? Where's this bleed coming from? Right? And if they're a good partner, they'll bring it up to you. Be like, hey, I'm seeing a little red over here. What's going on? But now it's up to you as the person who is in that distress to kind of take time to be like, okay, you brought this up to me. Why is it like this? Because you cannot heal something that you don't know. And you can't expect somebody else to heal something that you don't know is broken. That's why people need to stop going into relationships broken. Because when you go into something broken and you don't even know that something is broken, now you're breaking everybody. You need to assess yourself. That's why self-awareness and self-love is very important. You need to be able to understand yourself before you expect somebody else to understand you.
Of course.
So you need to be able to assess your own bleeding leg before somebody else can.
Yeah.
When you're on a plane and they tell you if this aircraft happens to lose oxygen, put the mask on yourself first before you help anybody else, right? So if you are out here bleeding out and you're like, just give me Tylenol, I'll be fine. Just give me Tylenol. So now people just like, but you're bleeding out.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do about
Makes no
this?
sense.
It doesn't make sense because like now I have a puddle full of blood here. I don't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
and you're still bleeding out. And if you keep giving Tylenol to a broken leg, one, you risk a clot, right? You risk the clot. So now that clot can go all the way up to your brain, all the way up to your heart, and just you're dead. Why? Because you kept giving Tylenol to a broken leg, right? Either that, or you risk the person bleeding out. Either way, it's death, right? So if you don't assess that bleeding leg, and you keep giving Tylenol, you keep healing the way you think you're healing, but then there's something bigger to it, you risk the death of that relationship.
Would you not call that falling out, though?
I wouldn't call it falling out. I call it stubbornness.
Stubbornness.
I call it stubbornness and and fear, because that is that person, the person that's bleeding out. They don't want to acknowledge that there's something going on. They don't want to acknowledge that I may need help. So they keep trying to satisfy themselves with small things, fix themselves with small things, but not address the bigger picture. And when you don't address the bigger picture, you put that relationship in jeopardy. It's not falling out. It's a choice that that person made. Whether it's conscious or not, it's still a choice that the person made. Because if you're that person that has the bleeding leg, like I said, your partner will point it out to you. You'll be like, hey, something's not right here. We keep arguing about the same thing. We keep going back and forth about this thing doesn't make sense. Why do you get so mad about this? But then if all you talk about is that moment, the day you snapped at them about something, and not try to address like, why did I snap at you? Why did I get so mad about this person? Why did I get so mad about this? And you don't address that. You just address what happened that day, you're going to come back to it. It's going to keep coming up because you're not actually addressing the problem. And this is something that my mom says that I love so much, is that we keep trying to treat the effects and not the cause. You're treating the symptoms, not the actual thing. And that's one thing that people do a lot. You're treating the symptoms, but then you're not going into the root cause of what's causing these symptoms. You're not actually treating the sickness, just the symptoms, right? Because if someone tells you like, oh, my arm hurts, and you're like, oh, just take some Tylenol, right? Take some Tylenol. Maybe that arm hurt could be a heart attack, because sometimes when people have a heart attack, they feel it in their arms. But if you keep giving that person Tylenol or whatever for the pain arm, you're not seeing that something deeper is happening inside.
You're really not helping them.
Right, you're not helping the person. You need to ask like, why are you having this? Let's go get you checked out because this don't make no sense. You can't keep having arm pain all the time. Like, it doesn't make sense. You need to address the actual root of the situation and stop treating the symptoms. Because if you treat the symptoms only, you risk killing your patient. And that patient is the relationship.
So, that was the reflections on Is Love Enough? Honestly, hey, I really love that kind of thing. I think it is very important for us to understand at least the different types of love kind of thing. Like, you need to understand whether you are acting on feeling or you're making the choice to love that person kind of thing. So when you ask that question, is love enough? I really want you to ask yourself, do I know what I'm talking about? Do I know okay. Do you know what love is actually? I want you to look at that person you're thinking of when you're thinking of that question, you know what I mean? And really look at them. You wanna wake up, look at this person looking like what, and really say, yeah, I made a good choice. You know what I mean? But no, guys, honestly, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Please like, subscribe, and there'll be more to come. And yeah.
Oh, what?